Every single Australian, young and old, is very soon quite possibly going to be forced to choose between freedom and slavery.
It's all about a devastating report that has just dropped out of Washington, D.C., with extraordinary new information about the Australian government's effort to censor what you can say and do and think online.
Right, let's have a serious chat, because what I'm about to tell you is going to sound like something out of a dystopian movie, but I promise you, this is real, and it's happening right here in Australia. Every single one of us, from the youngest kid to the oldest pensioner, is about to be forced into a choice between freedom and a new kind of digital slavery. And I'm not being dramatic when I say that. In fact, I think I'm understating the danger. Under the guise of protecting the children, the government is about to roll out a system that will give them unprecedented control over our lives. A system that will track our every move online, monitor our every purchase, and scrutinize our every thought. A system that will make the surveillance state of China look like a kindergarten playground. They're calling it e-safety. I'm calling it what it is, a digital prison. And once we're in it, there's no getting out. This isn't some temporary measure that can be rolled back when the emergency is over. This is a permanent, irreversible change to the very fabric of our society. This isn't some far-off threat. This is happening now. And if we don't wake up and start fighting back, we're going to lose the very freedoms that our grandparents fought and died for. So stick with me, because in this video, I'm going to expose the truth about the e-safety digital ID system. I'm going to show you how it's all part of a much bigger plan to control every aspect of our lives. And I'm going to tell you what we can do to stop it, because this isn't just about social media or online games. This is about the future of our country. This is about whether we're going to be a nation of free people or a nation of digital serfs. The choice is ours, but we have to make it now, before it's too late. And if you're as outraged as I am about this assault on our freedoms, then you need to join our Patreon community right now. We're the resistance against this digital tyranny, and we're exposing the truth that the mainstream media won't touch. Link in the description, because this fight is just getting started, and we need every freedom-loving Australian on board.
E-safety will need to be satisfied that the platforms are going to identify the users under 16 on their services now, and for the companies to be clear about how they will systematically prevent them from joining their services through effective approaches to age assurance at sign-up.
So how are they getting away with this? How are they convincing ordinary Australians to sign up for their own digital enslavement? Well, they're using the oldest trick in the book, fear. They're telling us that this is all about protecting our kids from the big bad internet. They're telling us that we need to give up our freedoms to keep our children safe. And it all starts with the under 16 social media ban. From December 10th this year, it will be illegal for anyone under the age of 16 to have a social media account in Australia. And to enforce this, the government is forcing social media companies to implement age verification systems.
She has used the excuse of hate speech and phrases like online harm to try to force the Australian government to censor what can and cannot be said online.
Now, on the surface, that might sound reasonable. After all, who doesn't want to protect kids from the dark corners of the internet? It sounds like a fair dinkum effort to keep the little tackers safe, right? But when you start to dig a little deeper, you realise that this is just the tip of the iceberg. It's a classic bait and switch, mate, because to verify everyone's age, you need a system that can track and identify every single person who goes online. And that's where the digital ID comes in. They're not just asking for your age, they're asking for your soul, digitally speaking. They're telling us it's just about age verification, but it's not. It's about creating a permanent, unerasable digital identity for every single Australian. An identity that will be linked to everything we do online. Our banking, our shopping, our social media, our political views. everything. It's like a digital shadow that follows you everywhere, recording your every move. And who's in charge of all this? The eSafety Commissioner, Julie Inman Grant, a woman who has been given unprecedented power to decide what we can and can't see online. A woman who has the power to shut down websites, to fine companies millions of dollars, and to force them to hand over our personal data. She's got more power than a federal minister, and she's not even elected. This isn't about safety. This is about control. It's about creating a system where the government can monitor and control every aspect of our lives. And they're using our children as a Trojan horse to get it done. It's a cynical, manipulative tactic that would make a snake oil salesman blush. Now, if you want to see where this is all heading, you just need to look at what's happening in the UK, because they're a few years ahead of us on this road to digital tyranny, and it's not a pretty sight. It's like looking into a crystal ball and seeing a vision of our own bleak future. They brought in their own Online Safety Act, all under the same guise of protecting children. And what's been the result? A complete and utter disaster for free speech. It's been a bonfire of liberties, and we're next in line to get burned. In the UK right now, over 30 people a day are being arrested for things they've said online. 30 people a day for tweets, for Facebook posts, for expressing the wrong opinion. That's more people than get arrested for burglary in some parts of the country. It's madness. Take the case of Graham Linehan, the bloke who created Father Ted. He was arrested at Heathrow Airport by 5 armed police officers for tweets he'd made months earlier while he was in America. His crime? He dared to question the transgender agenda. He had the audacity to say that men and women are different. For that, he was treated like a terrorist. Or what about Lucy Connolly, a mother who'd lost her own child, who was sentenced to 31 months in prison for an angry tweet she posted after a terrorist attack? She deleted it a few hours later, but that didn't matter. The Thought Police came for her anyway. They made an example of her to scare everyone else into silence. This is the reality of the world that Julie Inman Grant and the Australian government are trying to create here. A world where you can be arrested for a tweet. A world where you can be thrown in prison for expressing the wrong opinion. A world where free speech is a crime. A world where the only safe opinion is the one the government gives you. And don't think for a second that it can't happen here. We've already seen it with the case of Monica Smith, who was locked up in a Victorian prison for 22 days because of a Facebook post. The media barely said a word. The politicians didn't care. She was just another victim of the state's growing power. A canary in the coal mine, and we're all ignoring the warning signs. This is the future they're building for us. A future where we're all just one tweet away from being arrested. A future where our children will grow up in a world where they're too scared to speak their minds. A future where the government controls everything we say, everything we do, and everything we think. A future that looks a lot like the one George Orwell warned us about in 1984. So you've got the digital ID, you've got the surveillance, you've got the censorship. What's the final piece of the puzzle? It's the social credit system, the same system that's used in China to control every aspect of people's lives. And don't think for a second that they're not planning to bring it here. They're already laying the groundwork. They're already talking about linking your digital ID to your bank account, to your social media, to your travel records. They're already talking about using it to reward good behavior and punish bad behavior. What does that mean in practice? It means that if you say the wrong thing online, you could lose your job. It means that if you protest against the government, you could have your bank account frozen. It means that if you don't comply with their every demand, you could be locked out of society altogether.
So far, the eSafety Commissioner, an unelected Canberra bureaucrat, has censored a professional healthcare worker, a midwife and breastfeeding expert who claimed that men cannot breastfeed. Censored.
This isn't some far-fetched conspiracy theory. This is the logical conclusion of the path we are on. It's the world that people like Julie Inman Grant are effectively trying to create a world where we are all just numbers in a database to be monitored, controlled, and punished at the whim of the state. This is the ultimate goal of the e-safety agenda. It's not about protecting children. It's about creating a system of total social control. A system that will make the dystopian nightmares of the 20th century look like a walk in the park. So, what is the end game here? What is the ultimate goal of this digital ID system? It's simple: total control. It's about creating a society where the government can monitor and control every single aspect of our lives. A society where dissent is impossible. A society where we are all just cogs in a machine, with no freedom, no privacy, and no rights. Think about it. Once they have a digital ID for every single Australian, they can link it to everything: your bank account, your medical records, your social media, your travel history, your political donations, everything. They'll know what you buy, where you go, who you talk to, and what you think. And if they don't like what you're doing, they can just switch you off. They can freeze your bank account. They can stop you from traveling. They can even take away your kids. This isn't some conspiracy theory. This is the reality of the world that they are building for us. A world where the government has the power of God, and we have nothing. And it's all being done in the name of safety. But it's not about safety. It's about power. It's about creating a compliant, obedient population that will never question the authority of the state. So what do? Do we just sit back and let them build this digital prison around us? Do we just accept that our children will grow up in a world without freedom? Number. We fight back. We fight back by saying no to the digital ID. We fight back by refusing to comply with their un-Australian laws. And we fight back by spreading the word and waking up our fellow Australians to the danger we are all in. And that's what our Patreon community is all about. It's a place for Australians who are not going to stand by and watch our country be turned into a digital dictatorship. It's a place where we can have honest conversations, where we can organise and strategise, and where we can work together to build a better future for our children. A future where freedom is not just a memory, but a reality. So if you're as angry as I am, if you're as determined as I am to not let them win, then I'm asking you to join us. Click the link in the description below and join our Patreon community today. It's time to take our country back. Until next time, stay angry, stay engaged, and never ever let them take away your freedom. To see the latest Australian crisis, click this video here.